regular listeners. My name is Henrik Palmgren. Nice to have you all with us. I hope you're well and ready for some thought-provoking radio. What follows is a 2-hour program with Jacque Fresco and Roxanne Meadows from the Venus Project. Their website is thevenusproject.com. Jacque is a social engineer, industrial designer, futurist, and inventor. The Venus Project was started in the mid-70s, 1970s, by Fresco and his partner Roxanne Meadows, and it focuses on what can be called a holistic design of sustainable cities, energy efficiency, natural resource management, and advanced automation. So what will the future be like? Who is thinking about what kind of world the future will be? What are those ideas like, and do you agree with them or not? This is a very important program for people who are curious to know more about the Venus Project. You might have heard about it via the Zeitgeist Addendum film. The Zeitgeist movement has attracted millions of people. We've tried to approach this subject and some of our questions about the Venus Project from the point of view of how they plan to implement some of their ideas and how the system would be put in place if they had free hands to do so. We talk about what they call a resource-based economy. It also incorporates city design, transportation, new technology, engineering think on problem solving, computer systems, artificial intelligence, and robots that can take care of a lot of the management in and around the cities that they have plans for. So how would a transition over to something like the Venus Project look like? What is some of the philosophy behind the ideas of the project? And maybe there's some aspects and questions here that you haven't heard Jacque or Roxanne talk about in other interviews. So listen up as we talk about some of these ideas and thoughts around the Venus Project. Jacque, I guess I'd like to ask you first. You're now 94 years old and you're on your European lecture tour right now, currently in Austria. That's where we're talking with you from. How is it to travel around Europe, Jacque, at the age of 94?
It's okay, not bad. It seems that everybody in every country that we visited support the Venus Project, and they're working very hard to make it available to all people.
How many countries are you visiting on your European tour?
I think probably about 30 countries, or giving about 35 lectures in maybe about 30 countries. I don't even know. We don't count. We just look at the next two we have to go to, and we know where we're going.
All right, that sounds good. So did you begin at the tip of Southern Europe and work yourself upward, or how are you going about this?
I just want to mention that it was all organized by Heather Odom in the UK. So she really worked really hard to do all this, and she just kind of points the direction, tells us where we're going next, and we go. And she organized the people, all the Zeitgeist members who really put on the lectures for us, advertised, put on the people, got the video people laid together to video. So it's really Heather Odom that organized all this, and so that's about it.
Okay, excellent. Well, that's I'm glad to hear that. And do you have any chance at all to see anything in the cities and the countries that you visit, or is it just rushing from one point to another?
Well, we go from about 4 to 7 days, and we do get. Well, actually, we didn't get much sightseeing in until we got to Greece, which was interesting to see the Acropolis and do a little sightseeing. But our main point was to help spread the word about the Venus Project, and any of our spare time, we like to spend it with the Zeitgeist members at each location. So sometimes we meet from about 12 to 40 people as regularly as possible at each stop to help answer questions and fill them in with more information about this direction. That's our main aim.
And Jacque, if I ask you, how do you perceive, I'd reckon you've been to Europe many times before, obviously, but again, in terms of differences between America and Europe and that in comparison to the Venus Project, do you see things are a little bit differently run in Europe, in some of the cities there overall, or do you think it's basically is it as problematic over here in Europe as it might be over in the States, Jacque?
I find the same enthusiasm all over the world. The young people are very enthused about the Venus Project and are out there doing everything they can to make it available to all people. I don't find any real difference in the youngsters that are into the Zeitgeist movement and the Venus Project. They all have the same enthusiasm.
They're really extraordinary people. They seem to be all very kind people and work very hard at reading and watching videos and learning as much as they can about this direction, and very curious and have a different kind of background than a lot of other people. I must say, though, but in the United States, we were working for a long time in the United States, and we got virtually no publicity there. During the last 35 years when Jacque and I were working together, we had a lot of different magazine articles and publicity in other parts of the world, but not the United States.
Before we go in further and talk specifically about what the Venus Project actually is, for those who might not be aware of it, who might be listening here, I just want to ask you a little bit generally, how has Peter Joseph's Zeitgeist movies helped to promote the work that you're doing? I guess both in the States and other countries around the world as well. I guess it's been a tremendous lift, I guess. Is that true?
It's been phenomenal. Like I said, Jacque and I were working for about 30 years or so together in obscurity, and nobody really knew about us. There was another documentary made about us, but he really couldn't put the social direction together appropriately so people could understand it, because he didn't really understand it well himself. So it didn't get much publicity. It didn't go very far. But when Peter Joseph did Zeitgeist Addendum, it just took off like wildfire. It had about 50 million people watch Zeitgeist Addendum, just like his first film, Zeitgeist, and probably even more by this time. And then the Zeitgeist movement got organized, which is the activist arm of the Venus Project. And we have chapters all over the world where it's amazing. Like, we just made a stop from Spain to Vienna on this little island, and there were 12 Zeitgeist members that met us at the airport during an hour stopover. We went to another little island, like about 4 hours away from the mainland of Greece, from Athens, and it had 100 people on it, and we stayed overnight, and they gave us a plaque for our work concerning a resource-based economy. So it's just overwhelming how much that one film got these ideas across, because Peter really presented it very well and has worked so hard after that to organize the Zeitgeist movement and all the chapters.
Absolutely. And is there anything that you, Roxanne or Jacque, could say about the people who are attracted then to the work that you've been doing? Why is it successful all of a sudden now? You've been working for such a long time, and primarily it seems to be a younger crowd, if I understand that correctly, that are attracted to the kind of work that you're doing.
It seems that most people that are taken to the Venus Project are socially concerned, very much concerned about the negative conditions in the world. War, poverty, hunger, unemployment, failure of industry. They seem to be very content and would like to do all they can to help alleviate these problems of human suffering, which is really unnecessary.
And one thing, too, when Zeitgeist Addendum came out, it was when things started crashing in the United States and the rest of the world. So it was kind of a prime time. It will take that type of crash before a lot of other people start looking for alternative directions. So the timing was right as well.